I guess I just have like a little hodgepodge of memories about Halloween. And so one of the things I remember is one time whenever we were young, Granddaddy brought home these little wolf masks, and they were just like little masks, and we thought they were so cool because you just put them over your face, and they were to go trick or treating, and that's probably the first Halloween memory I have. We didn't really get costumes like store-bought costumes like people have today. We had mostly, made up our costumes, but I do remember we would get all excited because we get to go trick-or-treating with our little bags of candy. So the only time I remember trick-or-treating over at Thompson Circle, because I was probably around first grade or so over there, was I remember it because we kept going to this one house and they kept telling us that they hadn't gone to the store yet to get the Halloween candy, that we needed to come back later. And I guess they kept thinking that we wouldn't keep coming back. We probably went back about 3 or 4 times, and so finally my oldest brother, Roy, probably said, no, we're not going back to that house anymore because he's lying to us. He's not going to go get any candy. So I remember that, and that's where we had the little wolf mask that year. And then I remember Daddy bringing home a great big barrel of apples to give out for Halloween. And I remember years later Mama saying, yeah, we used to give out apples, but then we found out the kids were just throwing them away because their parents wouldn't let them have them because they had the rumor about the razor blades in the apples, so people wouldn't let their kids eat apples anymore. And it's really a shame for like a tradition that you grew up with to have it ruined by people who would put poison in candy and things, and just little isolated incidents of like that where something that was fun when you were a kid maybe is not quite so much fun or not as safe. But I don't want to get off on that tangent because I guess every generation has their own little segment of things that just aren't safe. But we were talking about Halloween, and Halloween is supposed to be fun and exciting, and you get to dress up and you get to go get candy. And so I remember that year. I remember one year I went as a hobo because we just got old clothes. And then I remember one year I went in a witch's costume, and what I did was my 1 year we had Christmas pageants at school back then. We would have a Christmas play every year. And so one year I was an angel. So the next year, Mama made my angel costume. Well, the next year the teachers would try to help us out. So one of the boys was a shepherd, and they said, those of you who had angels in your family, last year you can just dye the angel outfits brown. So we had a brown shepherd's costume just because my brother was the shepherd and I was in the chorus that year. And so I took that brown shepherd's costume and used it to make my witch's outfit with, and I had made me a hat out of a paper bag. So I had my witch's hat because I did the circle, and I had the little cone on top and everything, and I glued it together, however I got it to stay together. And Mama was going to do my makeup, and I kept, when are you going to do my makeup? When are you going to do my makeup? And she kept saying, well, I've got to cook dinner. I've got to do this. I'll do it in a minute. And so then later, Dale, who's the little girl that's up the street, came down and she said, when are you going trick-or-treat? And I said, well, I can't go yet because Mama's got to do my makeup. And she said, well, I'll do your makeup for you. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. So she did my makeup for me, and I went in the kitchen, and I told Mama, I said, Dale did my makeup. I'm ready to go trick-or-treating. And she said, why did Dale do your makeup? I said, well, I want to go trick-or-treating. And she told me, she said, she seemed upset. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, well, witches aren't supposed to be pretty. So she thought Dale had made me pretty and I was supposed to be ugly. And I told her she could redo it, but she said no. She said, go trick-or-treating. So I remember that year. And after that, it's like we would come back with our candy and we'd dump it out on the floor. And we didn't have to go through it and check to make sure it was safe. We knew we couldn't eat anything that was unwrapped, because it gets all gunky in your bag anyway. But we would trade candy. So you would have trading candy. So that would go on for a while. And then we'd have our little stash of loot that we'd be high on candy for, weeks, because we didn't go through it in one day back then. But, because we didn't get a lot of candy. So But those are my childhood memories of Halloween.